There she is.
Hey everybody, this is Jason again with Oregonbeekeeping. We're getting ready to do some winter management. So I got these 3 colonies here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do to get them ready for the winter, as far as feed, treatments, that kind of stuff. And then you're going to also see some different feeding methods, you might say, some different equipment. I'm going to kind of talk about pros and cons of both. So if you want to hang with me here, we'll get started. I got pollen patties here I made up in the springtime in February. I got a couple videos on that. I'm going to split this up and give a third to each one because these are pretty thick. That way everybody gets a little bit of protein source here. Nice thing about having a sharp hive tool, just makes this really easy actually. Cut through like that. And this colony is the smallest, so they'll get the smallest piece. Kind of the way it goes sometimes. That piece will go over there, and this is the biggest piece, so this is the biggest colony right here. Bada boom. Now, this is an 8-frame box I've got. It was a swarm trap. I kind of ran out of equipment this year. By the way, it's a horrible problem to have, right? Running out of equipment. Hey! I'll give them a little bit of puff on the front here. Let them know I'm coming in. Okay, so you'll notice on this hive, I've got a white cotton duck cloth, is what this is, or canvas. I just get this at Walmart in rolls. It's really, really inexpensive, and it makes a great inner cover. The bees propolize this whole inside, and then next year I'll flip this over and they'll do that, and it basically purifies or conditions this cotton to where it lasts a very long time. And you'll notice that there's no other equipment on this, but there is a feeder in here. I'm not giving any sugar water today. I'm just going to kind of peel it back and give them some pollen. They're completely out of pollen. I gave them some about a week or so ago. They're gone. It's gone. So they're definitely eating it. I'm going to go ahead and give them some more. Switch it down real good. Boom, that one's done. I'll give them some sugar water next week when I come by. They're a small colony. They may or may not make the winter. We'll see how it goes. But gotta at least try to take care of them best we can. All my colonies and all my yards have apivar strips in them right now. I put in about a week or 2 ago. I'll leave those in. It's the first week in August. So at least 8 weeks, some people say 10. So it'll be first part of October and I'll take those strips out. And that's pretty much my fall treatment. And then I might give them another midwinter treatment depending on how they look. So let's go check out these other colonies here real quick. Okay, so what I want you to notice here is that, again, this is another 8-frame box, same one as the one I just had set up over there, but this one's different. And so this is the difference with the inner covers that I use and also the feeders that I use. So this one right here and the one over there had an in-hive feeder. It's a black, basically the size of a frame or so. I find that you really need to take out 2 frames to really get those to fit in there correctly, otherwise you're smashing frames together really tight. So these are only going to have 8 frames in the winter with the inboard feeder. So that's kind of a con. Take away 2 frames to give them that, but that's the way it goes. The positive though is that I don't have very much equipment. I take those frames out, I put the feeder in, put my cover on, and I'm done. Whereas this one here, this is a top feeder. So I've got a wooden inner cover here with the hole in the center, which everyone kind of knows about that. I got my inner feeder on top, and I'll show that to you here in a second. But you have to have a lot more equipment with this, but there's some pros to that also. So let's just check on these girls real quick. I didn't take any honey off of any of these colonies this year. They were all swarms caught later in the year. So I'm just kind of building them up for winter time. That's all I'm trying to do here. Yeah, and their pollen is completely gone. They've got some good resources in there as far as honey goes. They've been doing some good collecting. I will be giving them some feed here in not too long, just not right now. Okay, close them up. Like that. That's that pollen down there good. And the pollen mixture, those pollen patties that I use, has a ton of sugar in it, so we're going to get some carbohydrate from that as well. Okay, so this one over here, kind of move it right here maybe. Is that better? There we go. So I'll give them a little bit of a puff, let them know I'm coming in here. Brick off. Pollen patty here. So again, equipment wise, with an inner feeder, with this kind of a system, you've got extra equipment. So you need an empty Western box to hide your feeder, which is right here. And they have completely demolished that. There was some feed in there, now it's gone, which is great. But you've got this right here, which is your inner cover. Now, these wooden inner covers are expensive. They're 15 bucks a piece, roughly, something like that. But they work great for their purpose, for feeding. These cotton inner covers, I can get 3 yards of this for, I think, 12 bucks total, and make about 15 of them. So cost-wise, way cheaper. They last longer because this wood will deteriorate, it'll rot, it'll wear out. Where this cotton, when they propolize both sides, it kind of almost lasts forever. And I'll show you one I've got that's a couple years old in my truck here at the next section of the video, and you'll see the difference between a newer one and an older one. How it's really, really cool what they do. But on these cotton ones, you can just cut a hole in the center, fold it back, use that as your feeding entrance, and then when you're not feeding, when it's honey season, whatever, you just fold that back over and they'll seal that. So that's kind of a cool thing. But now that I got to take all this apart to give them pollen, makes it kind of a pain in the neck. But then also, if I have an empty box here that's a honey box, where are my frames at? So I have to have another piece of equipment to put my frames in as well. So using these top feeders are great because I can lift it up. Oh, look, I need food. And I don't even got to open the hive in the when it's raining out or whatever. It makes it really beneficial. That's a good pro. The con is I have to have a bunch of extra equipment. It's expensive, and store it and whatever to get the same effect. Whereas these in-hive feeders here, it's that one piece and I'm done. So I have about 12 of these that I've used over the last couple of years. I really liked them, but the more I thought about it, the more colonies I was getting. These inside feeders seem to be really a better way to go, in my opinion. Also, when you're, you got to crack this open. Like anything else, it'll pop and crack. When you pop it, that's just kind of the way it is. Oh man, they're making a ton of extra comb in here. Huh, that's interesting. So, maybe no more sugar water for a while. We got a bunch of extra bird comb up on here I'm going to have to peel out. It's not overly exciting normally. I mean, that's a good thing they have all the bird comb in here. These are healthy. We got young bees, which is great. So I'm not really complaining about that too much. So I'm not going to be able to give them any more sugar water for a while because they're using that sugar water and they're building all this extra comb. They must have a good store in here. Again, this colony I didn't take any honey off of. It was a swarm I caught, and they have some good stores in here, it looks like. So I'm not going to be feeding them any more sugar water here for a while, probably. I'll give them some more pollen. They'll need it. This was the one that was a swarm that had a bunch of burr comb I had to cut up, so I rubber banded it off in here. They chewed a lot of the rubber bands off. I'll just get rid of those. that. I'm going to jump a colony in the front there like that. Okay, good to go. Yeah, the colony looks really good right here, which is a great sign. I don't want to give them any more sugar water for right now because they're just building a ton of burr comb in there, which means they don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to leave them alone for a while. Probably won't feed them for a few weeks, barring the pollen patty. Just like that, we're done. So yeah, on this deal here with these top feeders, their pros are great because you can just open them up, put your feed in there, call it good. In the wintertime, I put dry sugar in there, helps wick moisture out of the colony. Works really, really well, but I get the same effect of the in-hive feeders as well, where if I put dry sugar in there, it still wicks moisture out. But I don't have to worry about trying to fight with all this extra equipment. And that's a huge, huge savings. There's no sense in buying equipment just for storing other equipment, if that makes sense, which is basically what you do with these. The more I thought about it, I'm like, that's dumb, you know, it doesn't make any sense. So my preference now is I'm going to move away from this style feeder and move to the in-hive feeders like this, and see how that goes for a couple years. So yeah, that's that. Again, wooden inner cover versus this fabric inner cover. I'll show that to you here in just a minute, how that looks and what that benefit is on that. So stick with me, I'll be right back. Okay everybody, I'm back at the house after making my rounds today at all the colonies. What I was talking about on those inner covers for those canvas covers, I've got one right here. Again, I buy, not sure how big that is. I just buy yards of this at Walmart or Joann Fabrics, wherever you can find it. And it's duck cloth or cotton canvas, and it's just the natural white color. And I use these for my inner covers, and what I was explaining earlier on the earlier portion of the video here about how they propolize or do certain things with this, and it kind of preserves it. This is a piece from just this year, and just to show you, this is the side that you look at. This is the side that's clearly facing the inside of the beehive, and you can see how they've kind of propolized the edges of it. They even built a little bit of burr comb on it, a little bit of wax on that. So the next year, when I put this on a colony, this side here will go down, and they'll do the same thing, and you get both sides covered that way, and it actually preserves it really well. Now I've got a piece here that's about 3 years old, and just to show you kind of what they start to look like, huge difference here. So you can see they've propolized it really well, waxed and everything. Then you got the overhang here that's on the outside of the colony, and the other side, same thing. They've done that on both sides. So this is very rigid now, very thick, and it makes it really nice and seals really nice. So it's airtight, keeps other pests out, like if it's robbing or whatever. And because they propolize both sides, we all know that propolis is an antimicrobial, antibacterial type of material, and it makes this now a very, very clean thing to use, and it sterilizes it and keeps it nice and usable for a while. So this is the third year on this piece. This will probably last, I don't know, indefinitely maybe. It'll last a while, I'll tell you that much. So anyway, I want to show you this. So just as a comparison, this is first year compared to 3 years old on both sides. You can tell there's a big difference. So this one's really nice and like a t-shirt really, where this one is a little more rigid because of what they've done with it. So canvas inner covers work really well. If you haven't tried those, I suggest trying them. They don't make as much pop and noise when you go to open up your colonies. You're not prying up on a wooden inner cover and having it pop and crack and send that vibration through the colony, which gets them on edge obviously. With these ones, you just kind of peel them up, and it works really, really nice. And they're really inexpensive. Like I said, you can make a dozen of these for less than what it would cost for almost one wooden inner cover. So yeah, super, super cool thing there. Bees are looking good so far. Just an update on that. Everyone's looking healthy. Things are going good. Still got honey and honeycomb for sale. You know, starting to melt down my capping wax for saving that for next year. For I use the wax to coat my frames, that kind of stuff. But yeah, things are going good. Videos are probably going to slow down a little bit just because we're winding up the season here. I mean, we're just pretty much feeding pollen patty, sugar syrup, and making sure that there's still bees in the colonies. That's really all there is this time of year. If you have any questions about the inner cover specifically, or the feeding mechanisms that I were using, like the top or the inside feeder, pros and cons, if you have more information on that, let me know. Yeah, if you like the video, subscribe and follow me. Appreciate that. You can also find me on Facebook at Oregon Beekeeping. And exciting news, we are starting to have a website built. Got the payment shipped off for that today, and that should be live and coming up here in the next couple months. And that website is going to be Oregonbeekeeping.com. We're going to be using that primarily for a blog, kind of keeping track of like bloom records and honey pulls, that kind of stuff, for people to go on and look at those things. We're going to have some stuff on there about some of our local flowers and trees that the bees tend to like, kind of their bloom times, that kind of stuff. And then yeah, just a little bit about why we do what we do in Oregon. So be ready for that. I'll let you guys know on my Facebook page when that's available and open, and please go check it out. Thanks for watching. This is Jason at Oregon Beekeeping again, and have a great day.